River regulation has been part of the Murray River system for decades. In winter and spring, the regulators are open, allowing flows to enter into the forest and provide for the ecosystem. In summer, the regulators are shut and the water drains out of the forest. Unfortunately, native fish get trapped behind the regulators. As part of the Living Murray program, New South Wales National Parks and Wildlife Service is trying to find a regulator closure sequence that can help native fish find their way out of the forest. We are finding those that remain stranded and we're putting them back into the river. The best way to do this is electro-fishing. Here in the Millewa forest, this is a typical regulator site. Here you'll see that a pondage is built up behind me, and that's because we shut the regulator and stopped the feed of water down the creek in the last 24 hours. We're going to electro-fish this site and see if there's any native fish that have been stranded. If they are, we'll pick them up and release them in the Murray River.
Electro-fishing works well in these sorts of situations because it allows us to help herd the fish towards the regulator, and it stuns them long enough for us to get a quick measure and release them back into the Murray River.
This is the Marietta regulator, the biggest regulator in the Millewa forest. You can see that a lot of water comes through this regulator in peak season. Imagine how many fish use this as a passage. There are many tagged fish in the Millewa forest. This is one of the devices, an acoustic receiver that tracks their movement when they're in the vicinity.
Murray River cod. I've got 261 good couple-year-old fish going back to the Murray River. That's a big girl. Man, that nearly pushed me out. It was pushing through my legs. That's a meatery. So this is a Murray cod. We're on the river side of this regulator. We've just caught it on the other side. So that pool was disconnected. So there's no way for him to go further into the forest to find a deeper pool. He was essentially stuck behind the regulator and a higher ground of the creek. It's a bigger fish than what we were expecting to find. This is probably well over a metre. So this is a fantastic result for the project. This is one more large Murray cod going back into the river that may have perished if it was left behind the regulator. So great result. We'll let him go.
That's what it's all about, sending a 1.4 metre Murray cod back into the Murray River. Without this intervention, it would have been stranded behind the regulator and perished, therefore not being able to reproduce and provide offspring for future generations to come. This work clearly shows that when we shut the regulators each year, native fish are trapped behind them. In just a day, we've rescued nearly 40 native fish, from yearlings to whoppers over a metre. These fish can now breed, increase their numbers and contribute to the ecosystem.